I've written a little app that might be of interest if you do a lot of nesting and you end up with multiple sheets for the same job and you're having to make several CNC files. This little app hopefully will make it so you can basically create one large CNC file and then it'll split up that CNC file into the multiple CNC files. So hopefully a little bit less clicking. The way things currently, of course, work: select your parts, select your sheet, specify your quantities, give it a number of sheets, and I'm going to set multiplicity to off for now. So you might end up with something like this. Looks like it's going to be something like 13 sheets. You got a couple that are duplicated. So we'll turn on layout mode for this. So here we've got a couple layouts of the same. So you might get by with making 10 CNC files and having the operator run one of the files a couple of times. So then of course we'd hit stop and OK. And cam tab, right click on your order button, options, multi-sheet mode is typically set to true. We'll leave that there for right now. Click on the order button, select your sheets, hit enter, puts your 00 points on there, and then you go through and make your 10 or 12 CNC files one at a time. So what the app will do that I've created is, rather than doing this as multi-sheet mode true, you set this to false, click OK, and then when you set your order on all these sheets, it's going to put the 00 point on one of these sheets, and then we'll click on close. We'll go ahead and make the CNC file here. And we've got various options selected here. So it makes one large CNC file. We'll get these little error messages because it's looking at the size of the CNC file versus the crossbeam, but that's okay. So on my apps tab, I've got this new app here, multi-sheet. So we need to know the size of the sheets that we're working with. So click on pick sheet. If you don't know the size of it, it'll pick up the X and Y of that sheet. And then choose the file that you want to split up. If you're using one of our J-series machines with a conveyor, you can choose if you want to put in chain indexes between the sheets or not. And then it should make, in this case, 12 separate CNC files. And here are the files that it made. So the beginning of the first one should look normal, and then when it gets to a point where it sees that it's going to wrap it off to the next sheet. In this case here, we're telling it to, as if we're working with a roll of material, index that roll 120 inches, and then we would load the second CNC file, and then based on the position of that sheet on the IGEMS workspace, it'll subtract off or add on whatever it needs for the different dimensions and recalculate the values. Now, depending on how you want to run your machine, there's another app that might be of interest. Right now, we've taken that large, wide CNC file and essentially broken it down into these 12 individual CNC files for the 5x10 sheets. So you could load these 12 CNC files on the controller and run them basically one right after the other. Or you might want to take all of these and put them into one long CNC file, and depending on the type of machine that you have, you could have a M00 between each of these programs, so the operator could offload and load on a new sheet of material and then just hit the continue button and continue going through there. So there's another app that I've written that will basically take a bunch of CNC files and combine them into one long CNC file, and then you can insert whatever code between those CNC files to either stop the machine, or again, if you have a conveyor, have it just run the conveyor how you want it to run. So let me load this other app here, which I have called Merge. image for that on our toolbar. So this one here, the way this works, first of all, since I haven't used this yet on this computer, we'll navigate to where I saved those CNC files. And we'll pick what we'll consider the main file, which we might as well use the 001 as the main file. And then the files that we want to append to that. So we'll take 2 through 12. And got all those files, combine, and tell it where you want to send those to. Send those back to that same location. This is what it will name it. It'll append a 1 on there. And makes this file. We'll go ahead and click onto here to open this. So as we scroll down here, here's the end of the first sheet, and then here's the start of the next sheet. So this again could just be customized as far as what you want to have happen at the end of this one, whether it's an M00 or chain index or what, and then continue on with the next sheet after that. So if either or both of those apps are of interest to you, please let me know and I can email you the appropriate files. Thanks.